Have you ever just stopped and wondered if what you're seeing is all there is? You know, that feeling that there's something more, a deeper reality hiding just under the surface of things? Well, for thousands of years, that's the exact question that has haunted philosophers, scientists, and thinkers. And today, we're diving headfirst into that timeless search. And really, who better to start this journey with than Plato? He's the guy who pretty much set the stage for this entire conversation in the Western world. This quote just nails the problem, doesn't it? If you actually manage to see what's really going on, good luck trying to convince anybody else. It's the perfect launchpad for a story that's going to take us from ancient Greece right up to the AIs of today. So let's begin where it all started. We're heading back to ancient Greece to explore the origin story for this whole idea, Plato's famous thought experiment, set deep inside a dark, mysterious cave. So what exactly is the allegory of the cave? Well, at its core, it's a story about mistaking a movie for real life. Plato used it to make a pretty radical point, that the world we perceive with our senses isn't the whole truth, not even close. For him, true knowledge, what he called the forms, could only be reached through pure reason and philosophy. The story plays out in these 4 key steps. So picture it. You've got these prisoners who've been chained up their whole lives, forced to stare at a wall. For them, the flickering shadows are it. That is reality. Then one of them gets out. The journey into the real world is painful, blinding. But here's the kicker, the most important part. When he goes back to tell his friends the truth, they don't celebrate. They think he's lost his mind. His new reality is just so alien, they can't or won't accept it. Now, Plato's allegory is powerful, for sure. But what if it's not just a metaphor for society? What if the actual fabric of our universe, the world of atoms and quarks, is its own kind of shadow play? And that question, right there, takes us out of ancient philosophy and drops us right into the middle of 20th century physics. All right, let's fast forward about 2,300 years. Our next stop introduces us to Albert Einstein, who found himself staring into a brand new and totally bewildering cave, the strange world of quantum mechanics. This is one of the most famous lines in the history of science. You see, Einstein was really bothered by the new quantum theory. It said that on the most fundamental level, reality was just fuzzy. It was all about probabilities. An electron literally didn't have a specific position until you looked at it. To Einstein, that just felt wrong, incomplete. It was like we were only seeing the shadows on the wall, not the hidden machinery that was actually making them move. And this chart shows the showdown perfectly. On one side, you've got the standard view of quantum mechanics, which says, nope, the universe really is just probabilistic at its core. But on the other side, you have Einstein's view, the hidden variable theory. It argued that all that randomness we see isn't real. It's just a sign that we don't have the full picture, that they're deeper, hidden gears determining everything perfectly, if only we were smart enough to see them. It's a huge difference. Does a measurement create reality, or does it just reveal? And this wasn't just some philosophical chat over tea. This was a decades-long scientific battle. It really came to a head in 1964, when a physicist named John Stuart Bell figured out a way to actually test the idea. And since then, experiment after experiment has come back with the same answer. It looks like the quantum world really is as weird as it seems, and Einstein's beautiful hidden reality probably isn't there. Okay, so the search for a simple, predictable reality at the quantum level kind of hit a brick wall. But what if the hidden part of our universe isn't some tiny little variable? What if we're thinking way too small? What if it's something massive, like entire dimensions we just can't see? And that brings us to our third stop on this wild ride, the truly mind-bending world of string theory. This is the theory that suggests the cave we're living in is just a 4-dimensional shadow of a much, much bigger reality. 10, that's the number. According to superstring theory, for all the math to work out and for the universe to make sense, there have to be 10 space-time dimensions. Not the 4 that we know and love, 3 of space, 1 of time, but 10. So the obvious question is, where are the other 6? Well, string theory has a fascinating answer. It says they're compactified. They're curled up on themselves at a scale so unbelievably tiny that we could never, ever hope to see them. So we go about our lives in our big, familiar 4 dimensions, totally clueless that at every single point in space, there's this tiny, intricate 6-dimensional shape hiding. And these hidden geometric shapes actually have a name, Calabi-Yau manifolds. The theory goes that the exact shape of these hidden dimensions is what determines the fundamental laws of our universe. All the particles, all the forces we see are nothing more than vibrations echoing out from these unseen shapes. So once again, we're right back in the cave. And this time, the shadows on the wall are the building blocks of physics itself. Okay, so our journey has taken us from ancient philosophy to the farthest reaches of the cosmos. But now, we're going to take a sharp turn. We've been looking for hidden realities out there in nature. But what happens when we start to build intelligences that create their very own hidden realities? Our final example brings us right to the bleeding edge of technology. Because right now, we are building artificial intelligences that, in a very real way, think just like Plato. They work by finding a hidden reality, a world of forms buried inside the mountains of messy data we feed them. And this hidden map has a name: latent space. Just imagine you show an AI millions of pictures of cats. The AI doesn't memorize every pixel of every single photo. Instead, it builds a simplified internal map of what catness even is. On this map, the pure concept of a cat is like a single point, and all the similar images, like two fluffy Persian cats, are clustered really close together. And this is the absolute key. The AI isn't living in our world of pixels and sound waves. That's just the shadow on its digital cave wall. It operates inside this elegant, structured, hidden map. So when you ask an AI to generate a new picture, it's basically just picking a spot on its conceptual map and projecting it back out into our world as a new shadow for us to see. It is literally navigating a hidden world of pure ideas. Okay, let's just pause for a second. Plato's cave, quantum variables, extra dimensions, AI latent space. I mean, these ideas come from wildly different worlds, separated by thousands of years. But when you lay them all out side by side, something absolutely incredible starts to appear. Just look at this. In every single one of these cases, the structure of the idea is identical. There's a complex, messy, maybe even random reality that we see, the shadows. And in each case, the theory proposes a simpler, deeper, more fundamental reality that's hidden from view, the forms. It's the exact same argument, whether it's coming from an ancient Greek philosopher or a 21st century machine learning engineer. And that tells us something really profound about ourselves, doesn't it? This hunt for hidden realities isn't just some niche obsession for physicists and philosophers. It seems to be one of the core drivers of human knowledge. We are creatures who are just never satisfied with the surface of things. We're always trying to peek behind the curtain. So what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, maybe it's this. Maybe there is no final exit from the cave. Maybe every single time we think we've finally stepped out into the bright sunlight, we've really just entered a larger, slightly brighter cave with a whole new set of shadows. If that's true, then the goal isn't to find some final, absolute truth. Maybe the real goal is just to better understand the nature of our own cave and to have the curiosity to ask others, hey, what do the shadows look like in yours?